Hello and welcome to the Delphi training series, brought to you by 3DBuzz.com. I'm Buzz.
And I'm Logan.
And we are really excited to bring to you guys a brand new training series at 3DBuzz, starting on a new topic finally, and it's going to be completely free to all members out there. See, recently, thanks to the daily news and a little action over at dig.com, our traffic has improved significantly. We've got a lot of new members on the site, and we've got a lot of our old members coming back to keep up with the daily news, since we've been doing some pretty crazy stuff on that show lately. And because we've got so much traffic jumping around on the site right now, that kind of brings me back to the old days. And the whole idea of 3DBuzz to begin with was to have a lot of people in an amazing community helping one another out. And with that taking place, I was going to be releasing free training videos all the time, and then hopefully bring some sponsors on to help cover the costs of running the site and our paychecks and all. And unfortunately, everybody came, grabbed all the stuff, and left, and so we didn't have any sponsors, well, not for long anyways, and because of that, we had to start developing products that cost money so that we stayed alive. But now we've got a lot of traffic back, so I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and jump in with some free training videos and hope to keep you guys coming back every day. Because if I can keep you guys coming back with things like the daily news and new free VTMs like this, perhaps we can start picking up sponsors, and then more and more content will be freely released again. So again, in the end, it's not us trying to become the big corporation where we're all wealthy driving Lamborghinis, although that would be kind of cool. Nah, just kidding. No, I'm not. The idea, of course, is to have the corporate companies come in and help sponsor this site so that you guys can get your training for free. And here we are, finally, for the first time in a long time, at a point where we're going to start releasing some free training videos, not just once a month or something like that. We're looking at releasing these once a day, maybe once every other day. We're trying to try to get these out as often as possible. Now, we're going to start out with Delphi. Delphi is an IDE, and don't worry, we're going to explain that in depth here shortly. It's an IDE that basically interfaces with the Object Pascal language. So we're going to be teaching you guys how to program in Object Pascal. Now, I want you to realize that we are starting out from ground zero. Once we begin with the actual lesson material in Delphi, I am going to forget everything I know about programming. Logan's going to be our lead, and I'm going to jump in and ask questions, and in the back of my head, I'm going to keep my 18-year-old daughter in mind, who has almost no clue whatsoever about the computer world other than anime sites, and I'm going to think of the questions that she would need to ask so that she could actually learn how to program in this language. So the goal would be to get anybody who is interested in programming up to speed. So if you are a programmer already, you may find these videos of very little value to you. But at the same time, if you are someone interested in creating Windows-based applications and you don't have a bunch of prior programming experience, these could be very valuable. And if you have zero programming experience, these will be tremendously valuable if you're, of course, interested in learning to become a programmer. So that's kind of who these videos are for, the beginner. But we will indeed be working our way up. I want to make sure we create at least some sort of basic application every single day we record one of these videos. So even tonight, we're going to make one or two applications so that you guys can follow along. Now, tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to start out by showing you how you can get Turbo Delphi, which is a free version of Delphi that you can get and get registered. We're going to show you how to get it installed and get it registered so that you guys can follow along with the exact same thing we're using to create these Windows-based applications. So this should make it very convenient for everybody involved. Now, if you happen to become a proficient with what we're doing and you really lust for something more, well, you can always become a member sponsor, where we have started a new, the Developers Corner for Buzz TV, which is a show for member sponsors that focuses on a particular problem, and the programmer, which in this case is Logan, has to solve this problem on the fly. And the problem I've given Logan with this new series is the creation of BuzzNet 2, which is our application that we use here at 3DBuzz and with all of our member sponsors and students that take some of our bigger classes. It's a way of people getting in and communicating with one another, sharing files, doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But the new version is being created, and it is being created in Turbo Delphi, and every bit of the creation process is being captured so that you can follow along. Let me warn you right now, if you happen to be a complete beginner and you want to pull out your wallet and go become a member sponsor, I'm going to say hold off. Don't do that right now, because these videos will be over your head. Do you agree, Logan?
Most definitely. We have to get into things. We have to move quickly on certain points, on certain basic points, so we don't have time to delve into things too deeply.
And the idea of these videos is to provide that solid foundation you need to get up to speed. So that's kind of what we've got in mind. These will be completely free and available at 3DBuzz. So with that, let's just go ahead and get started. First thing, Logan, we obviously need to get our hands on Delphi. So where do we go about doing this? Now, for anyone who saw the Developers Corner I released the other day, episode 1, yes, you'll have already seen what we're about to show you, except now we're going to show you in a little more depth because we're going to actually install it and get it registered in this episode. So you may want to fast forward, or if you haven't seen it, you may want to watch this. But let's go ahead and do it. We need to get this to make our first episode of these free VTMs correct, if you will. So we need to go get Turbo Delphi. Where do we get it?
Well, I don't recall the URL right off the top of my head, which is okay, because I imagine a lot of the people watching this video won't recall it either.
Fair enough. So we're going to head over to Google, I take it?
Most definitely. We're going to head over to Google, and we'll ask it where Turbo Delphi is located.
Where do you find Turbo Delphi?
And it says that Turbo Delphi is over at turboexplorer.com.
Okay. You guys are going to find that our VTMs, if you're new to 3DBuzz, are generally relaxed. That's right. We stutter. We make mistakes. We go back and fix those mistakes in front of you guys. It's not like a scripted training video, and we're a little bit more lively than a lot of the training videos out there. So this may be a different style than what you guys are used to. Just wanted to throw that out real quick.
All right, well, we've arrived at turboexplorer.com, and there's actually several different packages that they offer. The one that we're interested in, of course, is Delphi, just regular standard Delphi. Delphi is, of course, available for .NET, but for the purpose of these videos, we're interested in Delphi for Win32 applications.
Okay, and these things are going to make more sense later on as we start talking
that was a lot of jumble to anyone watching, probably, but the product we're after is just Turbo Delphi.
Okay.
So there's the link to it. This brings us to the Turbo Delphi page itself and has some information about exactly what it is. What we're interested in is this downloads link over on the right. If we go to this page, this is where we get the goodies from. I think, let me try to remember which one of these mirrors I like. Try Turbo Explorer itself. Hey, there we go. This is what I was looking for. We have all of the download links to the setup itself. So here's the different versions. There's Turbo Delphi itself, and you can download it off of a mirror or from a torrent or whatever downloading method you choose. Okay, good. Now, in our particular case, since that's 300 and some odd megs, we've obviously downloaded it before the show. So go ahead and download it now, and let's go ahead and pretend we've now got it downloaded. All right, now, just to keep everything all together, to make sure we don't encounter problems in the future, I'm also going to grab the hotfix roll-up. Just get everything patched and everything up to date. Okay, so there are patches for Turbo Delphi, and even if you're following along professional versions of Delphi, this hotfix roll-up patch, if you will, or roll-up is for all versions of Delphi. So definitely grab that as well. So, for a moment, let's pretend we're networked directly over to their mirror, and we'll have the files. Okay, ta-da! Wow, that's the fastest download speeds ever! Alright, so we've got the main setup, the 300 some odd meg setup program, and all the roll-ups. So I guess if you want, we can jump right into installing Turbo Delphi. Let's do it. I don't think we've done anything complicated yet. Save some stuff, that's fine. I'll let it extract. And let the installing begin. Yeah, you guys are going to see the entire process this time. It's not going to be just magically done. So, yeah, I really am excited about these, Logan. It's going to be really cool because, I'm going to get to play the role of a student, which means I'm going to get to ask you lots of questions. And Logan's like, oh, brother. And the answer to some of those are, well, let me... What's a variable? I don't really know. You see, I just program, right? It just comes out. I don't know. Don't worry. I will switch to instructor mode from time to time, and I'll jump in with my own explanations. I just can't help it. And you have a little switch for student instructor. Exactly. Right now I'm in student mode. Wow, look at the pretty blue bar. Neat. Hourglass. Ooh, Borland. All right, and so it's telling us about some prerequisites, which I think those are also located on the page. The page we just came from a second ago? Yeah, let me jump back just for a second. Let's do it. I believe those are also... Where were those located? Give me just a second. I'll hunt for... Prerequisites? Yeah, there we go. Blind for a second. Yeah, they do have a link to the prerequisites themselves. I already have those installed. because of just other things I messed with on
other
this
applications.
machine.
And a lot of you guys out there probably have some of these, like the .NET framework, etc., already installed on your machine. You may not even realize it. But again, you can download the prerequisites here, all bundled together in one nice zip file, and then you've got all the installers
Right,
inside.
but I mean, depending on what version of Windows you're running, if you require all of these, they do provide them on the same download page.
Yeah. So again, go ahead and grab it. In our particular case, we know that all of those have indeed already been installed on this computer at different times.
So back to setup, since we have in fact acquired these, we'll start the install.
Okay.
And we would like to install Borland Turbo Delphi. And
It's so cool of Borland to release this for free.
Yeah, it's really nice that they continued the Explorer program. All right, username. I'm going to just use what do you want to use here?
3DBuzz is fine.
And I'll leave everything default.
Okay.
Let's see. I will change where the program files themselves go, just because I have a place where I prefer to keep all this stuff. I'm going to take out program files and throw Borland right on C drive.
Okay.
Everything else I'm going to leave the same.
Okay.
The Office controls, we'll just leave those defaults. The Indie controls, again, that's not stuff we're going to be getting into, so the defaults will work just fine. And file associations are fine, so everything is pretty much just next and let it do its thing.
Okay, very cool.
Keeping this simple
enough.
So now it's back to the world of progress bars.
All right, as it goes through and does its thing, we'll just take this opportunity and talk with you guys. You know, again, tonight we're going to write a couple real simple applications, but we're not going to get into explaining the code in depth. We're just going to type the code in. And for those of you out there that are complete newbies in the world of programming, follow along. See if you can make it work. You know, you're going to have to pay very careful attention to what it is you're typing. It's very easy to make errors. That, of course, will cause a program to explode and not work properly. But just follow along, see if you can get them to work, and then tomorrow we're going to start diving in a little bit deeper as to what these things mean and start talking about some of the basic language syntax. Sound good to you, Logan?
Yeah, overall, Delphi is a rather large environment. You have a visual side, you have a code side, so
exactly.
There's many different faces you can look at. So to get started, we'll just show some of the fun stuff you can jump into.
Right. Very cool. So, time remaining, 1 minute.
Or so. It's always fun to watch the time estimating
1.3 minutes, that's right. Well, under a minute, good deal. So as it goes through and finishes up its thing, of course, tonight one of the applications we're going to write is going to be a simple Hello World, because you got to have your Hello World program. The BuzzNet thing, Logan, I am really jazzed about that, because that is such a hardcore program that you're writing there. Lots of client-server action, if you will. A lot of net code.
And the live on-the-fly aspect is interesting, because as I do something, it's like, is that going to work? Well, I really don't know.
I think
we'll find out.
It will, but we don't know. It's all good stuff, though. I wish when I was learning to program way back in the day, I had stuff like this. Oh, man, I'd have been in heaven.
And I would have spent a lot less time playing with the goto command in BASIC.
No kidding. Oh, the good old goto, go sub, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Go subs and returns. Wow, that was the day. All right, so here we are wrapping it up with less than a second. Boom. Almost there. How about that weather? It's actually been pretty nice weather lately. Today was warm, surprisingly. You know, don't say estimated time remaining is 0 seconds when estimated time remaining is 30 more seconds. You know what I mean?
Or just replace it with question marks or estimated time remaining.
Well, at least it'll be honest, right? We don't know. That'd be great if it said that. Estimated time remaining. We don't know. Yeah, sometime today. Hey, what do you know? There it is.
It says installation's complete, so that's always good. I finished to that, and nice.
So we're done with that.
Done with this guy. Now, there's one other thing that we need to do. As it says right there, we need to get a key to run it.
Okay.
While it is free, you need to have a key in order for the program itself to run.
Okay.
So I had the Borland site in mind that I was going to go to. I'm just going to chance it and see where this link takes us. And hey, there we go. That was convenient. I didn't have to dig for anything.
And we're at Borland's site now. Nice.
So yeah, we're at Borland's main site.
So what's this key? What a key thing, huh?
The Borland, even Turbo Delphi, there is a commercial version of it.
Okay.
With more things unlocked inside it. Which costs money. So I mean, in any regard, Turbo Delphi is going to have to be licensed.
Okay.
You have a corporate license, or you can have the Explorer license, which is free.
Okay.
But a license nonetheless.
Okay.
And what we're doing here is we need to get a license so that we're able to run the program.
Gotcha.
And we've already downloaded stuff, so we can go to the keys only section. And there's Turbo Delphi Explorer, which is exactly what we want. And to get to this key, we will have to make an account on Borland's developer network. So let's set one up. What do you want to use for the login name?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember if BuzzBJ. Let's do BuzzBJ. I don't remember if I had one on there or not, to be honest with you. It's been so many years since I used to program in Delphi.
Now, we've got an email address set up for the purpose of these videos, so we'll use that here. That is as such. And then that looks right. And we'll just use something.
Was it right at the beginning?
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And that should be fine. So, look what I did. Login information.
Oh, whoopsie. We're just kidding. Create a new account.
All right. Bring some information with us and run this. All right. Better.
BuzzBJ. That's me. Password. That sounds good.
A word. That's sometimes a word. That's not a word. So, for this stuff, you want to just use your information?
Yeah, okay. Let's make an account for real. And the 615-446-6502. Yeah.
And
paste your. There you go.
And company
3DBuzz, Inc. And address, you're going to need to do address 1. Just do 210 Eastwood Drive. We'll give them all the real information, of course. They may send us something that I may be interested in.
I'm sure it's buried on the site somewhere.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yes, we're in Tasmania. Very good drop-down list. And, okay, good. Uganda, excellent. No, United
I remember
States.
when I used to visit that place from time to time.
And, alright, that looks good.
Alright, so creating an account, and what did we miss?
You already have an account.
Oh, what do you know? I must have one. So, how about BuzzBJ1?
And of course, it's not going to keep these, so I'll have to re-enter them. Everything else should have been kept, and that looks good.
Looking good.
And create account. Alright, so it's... Well, that was nice of it. It kept in mind the fact that we were after a key. So now that we've registered, it appears to be going on to the information section for the download itself, or for the key itself.
Alright.
Alright, how would we describe our job function? Application developer?
Okay.
What is current interest? Well, we're educating ourselves.
Okay.
And some other people.
True, I am the student right now.
Timeline, I don't know, lots of time.
Yep.
Me involved.
I am the decision maker.
Okay. Many people make up the team. 0 to 5?
Yep.
Primary business.
Education in there anywhere?
It should. Academic education.
That works.
It is. How many employees?
2 to 50, that's for sure.
And submit.
Okay.
It's telling us that that's going to go. And you know what? Just out of sheer paranoia, I'm going to make sure that I can get into that since we're going to need to do it live anyway.
Okay.
I'm going to get into that email address just so that we don't send the key to nowhere.
Gotcha.
So let's be ready with the Gmail.
Head on over to some Gmail action.
And waiting. Oh, good. We have. Oh, all right. So it's acknowledged our registration.
All right. Very good.
That was kind of it. All right. Yes, that was.
So we can submit her.
So waiting, and turbo license activation file. The license has been sent via email. Excellent. Has it? Waiting. Checking.
It'll be there in a minute. Once again, another waiting process.
So impatient. Have to keep clicking the button.
You know how it goes with Gmail. It's just one of those things.
It seems like email in general. It's like there's this mysterious pool located somewhere on the net, and messages just kind of stay there for some reason. It's like a Bermuda Triangle for messages. Looking, waiting.
And again, we're just going to play the waiting game for just a minute. You guys get to see all this great stuff live. Well, semi-live, actually. So they give you over 2 gigs nowadays. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's crazy to have the little counter that slowly counts up in space, like your account's always growing. That's cute.
There we go.
Woohoo! All right. Borland product
Now, what do we do with this thing?
All right. They have attached a license file. It's up to us to take that file and place it in the Documents and Settings directory for our current user.
Okay.
So let me grab that file and we'll do what we need to do. So files. Like, wow, I suddenly don't remember how to use Gmail. There's it. Okay, there we go. I was like, well, we could copy the auth code and that would take some time. But no, we can download. And we'll save this. Let's see if we can dump this directly where it needs to go. Instead, this needs to go to my documents. Okay, that failed miserably. I took it as the file name. Let's try this again. I was trying to be all slick and save it, and wait, there we go. The button, it's easier, and yeah, okay. Under my documents, we need to save it and leave the file name the same. Just save it under my documents for administrator.
Okay.
So save that, and now that should be the last piece of the puzzle, unless I'm missing something. Now we should be able to actually launch Delphi.
Okay.
So
that's where they want it at, is in my documents?
Yes, they want what they describe as the home directory. And for XP, that would be the Documents and Settings / your documents.
Cool.
Unless I missed something and threw it in the My Documents folder, it might need to go up a level. But we'll find out in just a second. Now, to launch it, I believe I still have a link set up where I can just type it in the Run entry. Normally, you just find it in the Start menu. But I'm lazy in that regard, so I've already made a link to the path I usually use, like so. Now, depending on the, we'll see. Oh, remember what I was talking about just a second ago with the key and the exact path?
Right.
I think I did actually put it under my documents, and they wanted.
This is what happens when you put it in the wrong place. Excellent. Good demonstration, Logan.
So run the registration wizard. No. So. Yeah, now we need to move that. What we did, like I was saying, my documents would have been like this / my documents, so we need to go fix that. Let's jump over real quick to my documents. Find that key, which is, like, where is that? Text file. Text files. There we go. We'll just move that up a folder. Actually, do it this way. It wants to have up a folder, not go to here, which is where it needs to be. So basically, we were just under there, under my documents. It was looking for the key in this folder, one level up. Well, there we go.
Right.
Now, let's see if it likes that.
Of course, Logan, no worries. I know you were doing that to demonstrate what would happen if you put the file in the wrong place.
Right, and like you were saying, there have been a lot of cases of people getting stuck on this step because of it being so specific, and the fact that Windows tries to be so friendly with my documents being a magic folder that doesn't have a real path.
So we've got about 36,000 days remaining.
About 100 years or so. So
wow.
I think we'll just be able to make it, you know?
Maybe so. So the first time you launch Turbo Delphi, this is what it looks like.
Nice. So home sweet home.
So this is the IDE. What is an IDE, Logan? What does it stand for?
It is an Integrated Development Environment.
Okay. Well, it sounds complicated. What does that mean?
What that means is it's a collection of tools all put in one place, all presented to you, so that you have everything you need right at your fingertips. Because programming itself can be as simple as a text file that you feed to a compiler to generate a result.
Gotcha.
It can be that simple. You can work at a command line or work in a text editor, never even using IDEs or tools or any of the fancy helps. Using tools over and over again, but as an example. What an IDE is it just gives you a lot more
flexibility. It eases the whole development cycle. If you were to think back to the caveman days and they want to construct something and they have their nails were created out of, I don't know, tree branches, and they got rocks to hammer them in, versus nowadays where you've got nice hammers. And
whereas nowadays when you have workshops.
A workshop, same thing.
So instead of looking at a rock in your hand, you're now looking at a wall with a full spread of tools on it.
Exactly. So this is what we have here. And like Logan said, we could do this if we wanted to in Notepad.
Yes, most certainly could. I mean, there's Pascal compilers available.
Yep.
You could use Notepad and a simple compiler and write programs all day long.
Oh, man, that would be...
To have one program to code and then have to load an entirely different program to solve problems and then have to load another program to put all the pieces of your program together, I mean...
Yeah. Plus this idea, it's so visual. We actually get to draw out our window. We get to draw our little elements that are going to be within the window, or controls, things like buttons, etc.
That's the other reason Delphi is so powerful, is because they took the visual elements and they integrated that very tightly with everything else. So it's literally all right there.
Now, when we talk about Pascal as a language, when we talk about programming languages, there are multiple languages out there that a person can write programs in, right?
Have been for a long time. Programming languages have been evolving for quite some time.
I mean, you started with what, BASIC or QBasic?
Good old QBasic and DOS.
But it's
Microsoft
a language.
QBasic.
But there's a language C, and then there's the enhanced C, if you will, or the object-oriented world of C. It's known as C++. We've got Pascal, Object Pascal. There's Fortran. There's COBOL. There's quick, throw some at me.
Language-wise, I mean.
We got PHP.
Okay, if you want to open that world, then we have Perl, Ruby, Python.
We get into scripting languages, MaxScript, and we've got, some of the other ones were scripting languages. But they're all different languages. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. And all of these different languages have their own quirks. They have their own syntax, the way that they look for things to be laid out. And they have their own... keywords, if you will, that you're going to use. It's their language. It really is, in the end, you can communicate using English, you can communicate using French or German, and you're going to, when communicating, get a point across, right? And in the end, that's what it's all about, is getting that point across. And programming, in the end, it's all about getting a program written that's going to have some sort of functionality. And it doesn't necessarily matter what language you use. But the neat thing is, once you've learned one programming language, for the most part, it's relatively easy to move over to another language and pick it up quickly. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. There are a lot of concepts that will transfer once... it's because much like with language, what you're trying to get across is ideas.
Right.
Those ideas will translate into different languages. So programming is almost in two parts. You have the syntax part of knowing what words to use in your language, but you also need to have the ideas that transcend language itself.
Right. Exactly. So, with that out of the way, let's make a simple program. So what can they do? Now, let's do it slowly so that they can follow along. Let's make a little simple application that's going to run with a single button on it that says, click me. And when you click the button, I want a message dialog, a Windows message dialog, to pop up and say, hello world.
All right. You've got to do a hello world app.
Exactly.
So, to have a hello world app, the first thing we need is an app.
Okay.
I'm also going to close this little welcome window. It's nice, but there we go. Clean workspace.
Okay.
So we need a new application.
Now, for those of you out there looking at the interface right now going, lots of buttons and things, don't worry. We're going to start breaking down the whole IDE and all of its various parts a little bit later. Right now, we want to get our hands dirty.
All right. Well, out of this sea of stuff, we have a new button. Inside of that, we have different types of applications, all of which we can talk about later. The one we're interested in is the VCL Forms application.
Okay.
And
what's VCL stand for?
Visual Component Library.
Okay. I'm not going to ask any more questions about that until a little bit later.
Now,
all right, you got a little thing up there. Cool. So what's that?
This is the visual side of the app that we've just created.
Okay.
It's the form itself, the form, or also the main window of our Windows application.
So right now, if we were to actually compile and execute this, we have a true window which has the ability to be maximized, minimized, closed, resized. Am I correct?
Well, let's try it. Up here we have the run button for our program, and it has compiled, and ooh, hey, look at that. We've got a window. It's usable within Windows.
As a matter of fact, go ahead and minimize the Delphi IDE in the background.
Okay.
This will make the point a little bit better.
So there's
and close. Let's go and close the Gmail browser. Yeah, just getting rid of some of that stuff.
Okay.
So that's floating on an empty desktop all by itself.
Okay. So that, and that.
There we go. So look at this. Cool. We've got now. Show it can be resized.
So yes, just like we were talking about, resizable, movable,
maximize,
can be maximized,
ooh,
can be minimized,
ooh,
can be restored, and so on.
And if you click up over here, it has all the functionality you'll find with a regular window. How cool is that? I mean, that took a matter of, 1 second? Just click a new application, there you go.
It was about, 3 mouse clicks.
3 mouse clicks. Wow, that's pretty simple. Now, we have the ability to alter a lot of this stuff quickly, don't we? Like, let's say the caption at the top. Instead of saying Form 1, which is the default title that comes in on the first form, yeah. Let's say we want to change that to say something like Hello World application.
Well, let's close this out since we're done with this instance of it. And that will, of course, bring Delphi back into view.
Okay.
Now, we want to edit this text. And to access that, we'll need to look at what is known as a property.
Okay.
The first thing we need to do is select the object that has the properties that we need to change. And that is this form. Okay. So we'll click on it.
Now, we're not going to talk much about properties other than you're going to see where Logan's going to go over to the left and make one change. We'll talk more about properties in tomorrow's episode. So go ahead and change that caption.
Okay. So since we selected this loaded everything into the left. And one of the properties is caption. Changing caption will, of course, change the text itself. So we could use Hello World.
And as soon as he hits enter, you'll notice that the caption has changed to Hello World. And if he goes ahead and hits run again, bink, there we go. We have our own application now that's running, and it's Hello World.
So, very simple, actually.
Simple enough. Now, right now, we can resize that. I don't want to be able to resize it.
Make the entire window locked.
We're going to lock it to a specific size so that no users can change it.
All right. That one should be under, let me think. It's one of these. It's probably under visual, and I'm going to say it's going to be border style, and that's set to sizable right now.
Right.
If we set that to single and run it, we no longer have the sizing bars on the side.
Okay.
So no sizing.
So now we cannot resize it. Excellent. So if we want to resize it now as the developer, let's go ahead and close the application. We can use those little stretchy handles, if you will, in the corners and on the sides. Well, all the way around, we got a stretchy band. Cool. To resize it to the size we want it to be. Now, so that's a little bit of discussion about the main form that's going to hold our components. Let's go ahead and throw a button on there now. So how do we get a button on there?
Well, components are in a tool palette on the right side of the screen.
Okay.
And if we scroll down, or maybe no, it's right there. We have T button. If we click that, it activates the tool. And then if we click or draw out inside the form itself, we're actually drawing one of whatever we have selected.
Okay.
So if I let go of the mouse, we have a button.
Very cool. All right, let's change the text on that button to say click me. So same thing. You select the button, you go over to the side, and you change that property, which is called caption. Now the caption on the button says click me. All right, so let's size that button up a little bit just to demonstrate the fact that we can control.
So we've got the little blue handles all the way around whatever we have selected, and we can use any of those to drag or resize the control itself. If you want to just move it, then click somewhere inside of it and you can drag it around.
Okay, very cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and run the application. All right, so check it out. There's our little program. How cool. Now we can click it, and it already has all of the standard visual functionality a button is expected to have. Notice we can highlight it like the button right now has focus, and Logan can click it if he pushes the left mouse button down. Also, since it has focus, if he hits the enter key on his keyboard, it'll also register. So spacebar, my bad. All right, so
yeah, either one. It's just the little quirks in Windows where one will and repeat, and then the other won't, and it gets complicated.
But you see what's going on here. But it doesn't do anything. So let's add some functionality to it. I just wanted to pop up a little message box that just simply says "Hello World."
Okay, functionality. To get into that, the quickest way to access the what we will term functionality aspect of this button would be to double-click on it. Ooh, wow, a lot of stuff changed.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we're not going to explain any of this right now. We're just going to type out a line of code.
All right. So we will say something like show message, and then we will hand that hello world, exclamation point.
Now, a few simple things I'll ask. First of all, show message. Is that case sensitive? Does it all have to be uppercase, lowercase?
In Pascal and Delphi, no.
Okay.
We can use the casing however we want.
So, because some languages are very particular.
Oh yes, a lot of languages are very demanding. You have to have the casing exact, otherwise it won't allow it.
Right. Okay, and then I notice you have an open parenthesis and then a single quote, and then you close that single quote at the end in a closing parenthesis. So if you leave any of that out, it's going to blow up.
It is, because whenever you have something that is opening and then closing, if you don't close it, then it's
just going to run on.
It's going to run on forever, and then it's going to be looking for what's in the middle of that, and then end up at the end with nothing and just confuse itself.
Yeah, and it's going to error
and
out.
Confuse you.
Now you have a semicolon at the end. That's known as a
Terminator.
Terminator. Aha, the Terminator. Now it just denotes the end of that line, correct?
It denotes the end of the whatever you were doing. You're saying you're instructing Pascal to do something, and it's going to wait for you to tell you when that instruction is finished. Because that's the reason you have Terminators, is so that you can write more organized and more complex code. If you didn't have Terminators, you would have to use something like a line itself. Terminators let you break away from lines.
Excellent. I walked you exactly into what I was wanting you to say, and that is we're not limited. When we go to write out a statement, it's not necessarily all limited to one line.
Right, and then that would get into a discussion on whitespace.
That's right, into formatting and all, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so that's very cool. So let's go ahead and run our application now.
All right, moment of truth.
Ooh.
Functionality.
Hello world. Now, at the top it says Project 1.
That's because we're running within a default project name.
Okay.
Because we haven't actually saved our project out yet.
Okay. So let's go ahead and show them how they save a project as they're following along with us.
All right. Now, another thing to understand with almost any development environment is that your program is almost always, well, in any more complex program, it's going to involve multiple files.
Okay.
There's multiple files that have to all be put into the IDE to make one program.
Okay.
So in our case, even with the simple Hello World app, we're going to end up with two different files.
Okay.
We're going to have one file that represents the one form we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have another file that represents the project as a whole and holds references to all the smaller files, if you want to call them that, within the project.
Okay, sounds good.
Since we haven't saved either, I'm going to go and say save all, and we'll catch everything.
So this is going to walk us through our files, or through, well, the files.
Right, it's going to walk us through the unit that holds the form, and then it's going to move on to the project itself.
Okay.
So we're under the...
So right now we have only two files associated with this project?
Precisely. We have a unit and a project.
Okay. There's the BuzzNet 2 that you're working on.
So we'll create a folder for this to keep everything all organized together and just call it Hello World.
Okay.
And inside of here, this is the main unit to our whole project, so I'm just going to call it main.
Okay.
Save that. And then the project itself, this is our Hello World project. So I'm going to call this Hello World. And we'll save that. An interesting note is that by default, the executable, the program you generate, is named to whatever your program is named.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so now if we run it again,
then the message box is going to pick up on our project name, our app name, and it'll be titled Hello World. Okay, very nice. Now later on, obviously, we can change that so that it's not always going to be the name of our project. We can control all that. We're not going to do that here. Right. I just wanted to point that out. So, okay, well, that's quite simple, actually. I think this is a pretty good stopping point for right now. I was going to have one other application developed, but the idea of these videos are to be relatively short, about 20 minutes in length, and we're already double that. So with tonight's introduction VTM to the Delphi training series, you guys have seen how to go out and get Turbo Delphi, how to go get the key, get it registered over at, or at least yourself registered over at Borland's website, and then get the application installed and properly registered so that you can run it. You've then seen how you can create a very, very simple Hello World. Now, let's end it with one thing, Logan, and that is, what if I want to show my groovy new application to my grandmother, and she's got a computer that runs Windows? Can I do that now? Yes, you can. As soon as you build a Delphi application, it builds that to the final program.
Okay. So where would I find this executable file that I can...
It's located under the project directory to Delphi, which defaults to your My Documents folder.
Can we go there?
And I think one of these had it. Yeah, there we go. I had one of these saved out, so it's under your My Documents folder. And by default, it'll be Borland Studio Projects.
Okay.
There is our Hello World folder we made.
Uh-huh.
Within that, we have the project files, the unit, some other files that Delphi generated as we save those.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, we have the Hello World executable.
So don't click that yet, but let's do this. Let's go ahead and close the Turbo Delphi right now.
Okay. So it has done well, and we will release it from...
So it has been released from memory. Now, if we run that executable... Wow. So we have our own application now. And we can hit the little click me.
And
brings that
there's
up.
our message box.
And then we can click OK on that, and we can go ahead and close it down. And ladies and gentlemen, again, obviously we have to start simple, with the goal being to teach people how to actually program in this language and create useful Windows-based applications. So you must always start off with Hello World. The nice thing is tomorrow we'll be able to get just a tad bit more complicated. And if we're able to keep these up every day or every other day, it's not going to be far before we get into more and more sophisticated stuff with the language. We will be introducing you guys to everything from variables to classes to pointers, the whole 9 yards. We will slowly add these things in, and we do hope that you guys continue coming back and watching these videos. Now, the most important thing is you guys coming over to 3DBuzz and getting the community really rolling, because that's why we're doing this. We actually have a little bit of life back in 3DBuzz, very similar to the old days when I first started giving out all of the videos. If we can keep the crowd up every day, we will keep these things rolling your way constantly, and we'll keep them free. So, guys, help me get back to my original vision, and that is being able to provide free training and having the corporate companies pay for you guys to get this training, not you guys. Okay? We want you to keep your own money and spend it elsewhere while reaching your dreams of becoming a programmer, an artist, or whatever it may be. And with that, Logan, I'd like to thank you for your time tonight. And guys, go over to 3dbuzz.com, jump into the lounge, and let us know if you enjoyed it and you want to keep seeing these things rolling out. And with that, we're signing off. We're out of here. Thanks a lot.